You can learn as much as you can from books and podcasts and everything else, but until you do a deal, I mean, that's the true learning. Like it's the books and everything else to me is about the mindset. Right. It's just making sure that, okay, I'm not a complete idiot going into this. I know what I'm looking for, but honestly, you don't know what it's like until you actually buy that deal and you start working. It wasn't based on somebody else.
Right. And conversely, if you make bad decisions, you make less money.
Absolutely.
So there's risk, but you're betting on yourself.
And I've done that. So I've had, an equal amount of good and bad. So, I mean, for sure.
But yeah, I mean, to that point, you said I'm betting on myself, and that's what you enjoy, right? And that's what I think more of us should do. We should find the confidence to bet on ourselves because, it's hard work and it can be brutal. And there's some losses along the way, but it's worth it. Yeah.
Like even when you make the bad decisions, I mean, there's nights when you don't sleep. There's nights when I'm like freaking, not now so much, but especially in the beginning when I was thinking about, am I going to make payroll? How am I going to make payroll? There was times when I made sure that everybody else got paid, but I didn't get to eat. And, I had 2 young kids at the time, so I was also thinking about making sure that they were able to go to college and making sure that they didn't feel when I was stressed and so forth. So there was that pull from that side of it of making sure that, hey, I'm still being a good dad. I'm doing all the things I'm supposed to be doing. But on the other side, man, it got hard there sometimes.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah, especially with young kids.
Especially with young kids.
Yeah, I kind of joke, but it's okay if you have to live in a van. But you're a kid.
But my kids, exactly. I'll never let them know that I'm living in a van, if you know what I mean.
Right. Yeah, 100%.
Yeah.
So fortunately, you've developed this marketing company to where you could exit and at least get some capital out of it to where you're comfortable for a bit. Wife has a well-paying job.
Yep.
Now you have a decision to make of what do you do next?
Yeah.
Is that where real estate enters the picture?
That's where real estate entered the picture. So real estate actually entered the picture a little bit before that. So I had started buying some rental properties. I was always big into investing. Stock market was my thing. And so I did well during the early 2000s with the internet run up and things like that. I also lost some money when everything went bust, but I learned a lot of lessons from it. But I started getting interested in real estate. I started buying rentals, and I had a buddy of mine that introduced me to real estate at the time. And I think the thing that intrigued me is I always made the argument, real estate, why would I ever invest in real estate? It goes up 3% a year, and I can put my money into an S&P fund and make 9% a year. Why would I ever invest in real estate? But I wasn't thinking about all the advantages of real estate. I wasn't thinking about that 3% a year is only based on, however much cash I actually have into it. It's not the entire amount. If I put $10,000 down on a $100,000 property and it goes up 3%, that's a 30% increase for me on a cash return. So I wasn't thinking about it that way. And when I started thinking about that, I was like, that's kind of interesting. And then when you throw on top of that the idea that you can depreciate an appreciating asset, that just blew my mind that was even a thing. Right. So I think that was the genesis for me when I had this conversation with my buddy and he explained to me why I should be in real estate. And I started thinking about this makes sense. So at that point I started buying real estate. That was really the late 90s to around 2000.
I assume your buddy was doing it.
He was.
Right? Yeah. And so where were you getting, outside of your buddy, where were you getting any other information on this?
Once I heard about it, I started reading everything I could possibly read. I was all over the internet doing everything I could find on the internet, which back then was pretty sparse.
Right.
Lots and lots of books. I mean, Rich Dad Poor Dad was a thing even back then. So, I read that front cover to back cover. I mean, I read so many books just trying to get the mindset right more than anything else. But really, I mean, real estate investing, you can learn as much as you can from books and podcasts and everything else. But until you do a deal, I mean, that's the true learning. It's the books and everything else to me is about the mindset. It's just making sure that, okay, I'm not a complete idiot going into this. I know what I'm looking for. But honestly, you don't know what it's like until you actually buy that deal and you start working it.
And that's a great point because so many people wait to read all the books before they take action. I need to read this other book and read this. There are people you can put on your team to help you work through the process. 100%. You just have to take that action.
Yeah, you got to take the action. I mean, at the end of the day, I'll be honest, it's hard to lose money in real estate. It really is. Don't get me wrong, it can be done. And I've lost money in real estate, but it's hard to do it. I mean, if you have the right people in your corner that are helping you and looking out for you, just, go buy the deal. You're probably not going to lose money. Maybe you won't make as much as you would love to make.
Break even and learn.
But just break even if nothing else, just to get into it and I can tell you, once you do the first deal, the next 5 are easy.
Yep.
And once you do the first 5, the next 40 are even easier.
Right.
And it becomes an addiction. Like it's, you buy one house, and next thing you know, you have 75. I mean, it's just like, that's just the way it feels like. Obviously that's over time, but that's what it feels like.
Yeah. And then to me, it was a race to 5 initially, because then the 5 started paying for anything that happened on those 5.
Yeah.
And then the cash flow started increasing, which would then pay for that. And then you saw the tax advantages at the end of the year. And then you saw, and it all started, your net worth is climbing. And I'm like, oh, okay.
Yeah.
This is why
it
it's
becomes so much
right.
easier to buy. That's why, like, even today, and I know I'm jumping ahead right now, but even today, I mean, prices are up, interest rates are up. I have a lot of people saying, are you still buying houses? And I'm like, yeah, I'm still buying houses because I can see the numbers work.